I ran out of people to text. I noticed a little while ago that I went into my messages and I had nobody to text. And the thing that did it for me was, for the longest time, I had one friend I was talking with consistently daily, and we would text all the time. But I think what that did, though, was provide a sense of comfort that actually wasn't there. That, I always, it makes you think that you have all these people that you're talking with and you're in these conversations, that you're actually not alone, but it's all hinging on one person. And then when that one person leaves, you realize that you actually have nobody to talk to. And all those conversations were just with one person. And then suddenly you have nobody. And I found myself, at least, I've kind of been replacing it with AI. I've noticed that in like the last year or two, increasingly, I've been talking with AI more and more. I mean, you have interesting conversations with AI. It's smart. It can learn quite a bit about you, and I know it's not actually genuinely interested at all, but it asks more interesting questions than what other people do. And AI can serve as your doctor. It can help you with your taxes. You can ask it just general questions about life, and it'll give you great responses, and it can do all sorts of things. So when you have nobody left and there's a robot that you can talk to, you unfortunately go that route. Because the thing is like, a lot of us are fine with solitude, and I like it. Don't get me wrong. I love my alone time. Even when I was in a relationship, I still really much valued my personal time, but we're still creatures that like to be social. Even if it's just with one or two people, you still need that. I think we don't realize how much having one person in your life is still meaningful. And then when you suddenly don't have anybody, you start to feel it. When you're talking with that one person all the time, like I say, it gives you that false sense of community in a way. Because I guess you do have it at the time, but it's very fragile. So I've been trying to redirect that energy to reading more, getting back into books. And I bought a musical instrument that I've been trying to learn how to play. So just doing small things like that, I guess trying to get back into hobbies. And maybe it'll be a long-term positive, because as I grow and as I gain more hobbies and interests, and if I allow myself to lean into them and, potentially join a group one day, then maybe friends will come from that. And maybe they'll be, no, maybe not better, but they'll be good friends because you'll have common like interests between one another. So maybe it'll all work out. But I have noticed though that having less and less people to text has kind of come with age in a way. Because if I look back in my early 20s, I had so many people to talk to. I mean, we were texting constantly. This is even back when, like, prior to social media. But you were always texting. You had text groups. Just, there was tons of people to talk to. But then I find as you get older, maybe you stop talking with your friends as much. You start replacing your friends with conversations from work. But the thing is that's another false sense of security people get, is that they, when you're at work, maybe the type of work you're in, you have to communicate with other people at work during the day. And at least where I work, phones have become a big part of it, right? I mean, just having different text conversations allow you to communicate and keep a conversation going without having to actually stop everything and get on the phone. But the thing is those conversations are only at work. You don't talk with the people from work outside of work. So when you're actually sitting by yourself on a weekend and you feel that need to just talk to somebody and maybe express your feelings, or maybe something good happened and you just want to talk to somebody about it, you don't actually have that person. Right? And meanwhile, you've theoretically always been in conversation on your phone. But when you have something meaningful to say, nobody's actually there. And the kind of shitty thing is I noticed, especially in the last couple years, I quit all Instagram, even though I wasn't big on it. But the big one was Snapchat, because every time I'd go on Snapchat, I'd always catch myself scrolling over to that news feed, and the news feed is just brain poison. It's just disgusting. But I couldn't help myself from going on there. But there was a couple people where our conversations in life, where we chatted, was on Snapchat, for whatever the reason was. But then, you tell them like, hey, I'm deleting Snapchat. I don't want to be on the apps anymore. I'm limiting my time on social media. Hit me up through text or give me a call. And then you text them. But then for some reason, they may respond to that first or second text, but after that, suddenly nothing. Meanwhile, when you're on the app, you guys were talking all the time. So I don't really get that. I don't understand how you can have friends because you're on a certain app, but then if you're not part of that app anymore, which is just a form of communication, which could be done on anything, like texting through Messenger is the same as texting through Snapchat, but for some reason I've now lost those couple friends that I had on that app. So, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I think though it exposes something deeper though. It exposes that we're not actually friends with as many people as you thought. Because there's no friendship I can think of that I have or I've had to where that if that person wasn't on a certain app, I wouldn't be friends with them anymore. That's insanity. To me, that's just a way of communicating. The only reason I was on Snapchat is because it was an efficient way to send a picture of something. And then you ended up kind of getting into that, like kind of showing your day to a friend or something. And then you'd get one back. And it was just kind of interesting to kind of see what other people are doing. It wasn't so I could talk to that person necessarily. To me, that's through texting or calling. But when I got off the app, so suddenly, my contact list started shrinking till now it's just me and myself and Irene, right? So, anyways, let me know in the comments if you guys have had this. Let me know if you're down to just texting yourself. I don't know let me know if you filled the void with anything, or if you've just called it quits and, took that messaging app off your number 4 list on the bottom of your phone. I don't know. Let me know. If you guys like the video, like and subscribe. And there is that new hype feature. Click that if you want. All that does is it sends the video out to more people. So, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.